So hello everyone, and welcome back to part 2 of episode number 3 of our Quidditch University Executive Roundtable, as we're calling it. My name is Gabe, and I'm joined with Nate and Brian as our co-hosts, and we have 2 new guests to help us kind of dive into the support and just general topics about Quidditch Exec and how we're going to grow the sport at the university level. So to start, we'll start with Savannah. If you want to introduce yourself to our viewers. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Savannah. I'm from a small town outside the Waterloo region, and I'm just finishing up my second year playing Quidditch with the GGs, and I played MLQ with the Black Bears last season. My background in sports before Quidditch, I was a varsity track athlete my first year, and I did a lot of club track before that too. And I'm a full-time student at uOttawa in ecology right now.
Awesome. And then we'll pass it over to Gomes. You want to tell people about yourself?
I'm Michael. I go to school at Guelph. I've been playing Quidditch for 5 years now. 1.5 in Royal City, the rest on Guelph. Sports background. I've played a whole bunch of sports: basketball, soccer, hockey. I don't know, too many to count. And I'm still a student at the University of Guelph, but I should be graduating soon, so yay.
Awesome. Well, thanks for that. So that was just like kind of we did that with all of our guests just to kind of let everyone know who we're kind of chatting with. So we'll go more into our the breadth of our conversation, which was going to be about just in general what kind of support and how the executive teams for various universities run. So we just had in our part 1, we had Queens with Lydia and Alyssa from Waterloo come on. So we want to kind of learn more about your programs. So we'll start with Michael. You can go first. So do you want to just generally talk about what the executive team structure looks like at Guelph? So we know that you guys have the two teams there. So I don't know if that kind of changes things, but just in general, how do you guys divide up your exec team? Do you guys have like a president? Is it like how the coaching staff works? That kind of just general stuff.
Yeah, so in general, how we run is we have a president. So right now that's me, and we have a vice president or vice presidents, and we work together to do all the admin stuff. So that's tournaments, finances, running all our events, fundraising, bake sales, that kind of stuff. Recruitment, we work with the school to get some O-week stuff, O-week events. We also do all the practices and getting our team some extra field time and seeing if there's any extra stuff we can get with our athletics department, which is usually a pretty big fight to get anything.
Yeah.
Let's see, team status. We're just a club team, so
Okay.
That's kind of hurts when we're going for extra practice time because that's usually given to varsity teams. But it's something we're working on seeing if we can get any extra recognition from the school, which will help us get some more time and maybe even grants in the future.
So how does the structure work at Guelph? So I know at Queens we have varsity team, then we have varsity club, and then we have recreational club, and then student run clubs. So how do you guys I don't know if you know how you guys run the basic structure generally?
So Guelph, it's there's varsity teams and then there's athletic clubs, I guess, and then there's just regular clubs. So we're an athletic club.
Okay. Perfect. Awesome. So that's a great start. And then we'll pass it on to Savannah. So how do you guys just generally run it? So we'll start with exec, and then you can we'll slowly work our way into team status and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so it sounds like ours is pretty similar to Guelph. We have 1 president and 5 VPs. Run pretty much the same. We have the finance and communication side because uOttawa is a bilingual institution, so there's a big emphasis on making sure everything's in both French and English. Our exec's a little bit more responsible for the club aspect of it. We try to enforce the distinction between club and team at uOttawa. So generally the coaches organize practice, but our VP Athletics does book the practice space in the winter, that kind of thing. uOttawa, we kind of have the same structure as Guelph as well. We have the varsities, we have competitive clubs, and then we have normal clubs. We're not a competitive club.
Okay.
We're just a normal club, but we do have competitive sport designation within that for whatever reason. Yeah, so we're working on getting a little more equality there this summer. That's my project. Because other teams with the same kind of designation, like Nordic skiing, like cricket, fastball, they all have a little more privileges than we do, even though we have the same like technical level. So
Great. So are they so those sports, are they considered competitive club then, or are they the
no, yeah, they have the same designation as us as competitive sports within the club,
within the
but
regular?
they have access to logos. They have like varsity type gear. They can compete with other schools with more funding, and I haven't really found a pattern as to why. So
what's the difference between that, like the distinction of within a normal club and then like a competitive club? Like, what's the difference between those two?
It used to be access to the logo. Competitive clubs had more rights in that regard. They had more funding access and facility rental stuff, where normal clubs, like, our only privileges with the university are like 15 space bookings and an AV table. So yeah.
That's not fun.
Little red tape. Yeah.
So I don't know if you're familiar, like, because we had Cody on, and he said he he wasn't like really into like the whole exec stuff. So we wanted to I don't know if you remember like when there were the GGs. So is that like, so the GGs would be if you were considered the competitive club, I guess then?
They've restructured the whole athletics department a lot.
Okay.
So when the GGs actually started, they had a 4-year contract to have access to the logo. And I guess at the end of that 4 years, there was a transition between the university's president, and he decided that we don't have access to it anymore. They weren't able to renew the contract.
Okay. Interesting.
So real quick, so when you said like there's the basketball teams, or like the whatever teams, let's say just basketball for the simplicity of it, that have like the athletic club designation, is that different from varsity, or is that the same?
Yes.
Okay, so there's like a varsity, and then there's another one that's like club.
So,
okay.
Yeah, varsity, and then competitive clubs, and then normal clubs.
Yeah,
we're
really?
In normal
Okay.
clubs. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's kind of similar to Queens. Queens has something like very similar to that. We're lucky enough to actually like have the logo, obviously, but that's weird. I don't know. That's interesting. Okay, cool. So yeah, we'll get more into that. So I guess we'll kind of transition then into more like the in general, like less general, more specific. So we'll go into like school supports. So this is kind of things like you're saying, like equipment rentals, how you guys organize travel. Obviously, we'll talk with Michael about like organizing tournaments and support you guys get for like hosting tournaments. Obviously, you guys kind of set the standard, I would say, in terms of being able to host tournaments. So what kind of support you guys get from the university in terms of that? And the thing we didn't touch about, and the other one that I kind of want to touch about is like, I don't know if you guys get like discounts for like therapy, or if you guys get discounts for like athletic, like that kind of stuff. So like, I'd be interested to see what, especially with Quidditch being such a like, heavy contact sport, what kind of discounts maybe you guys get, if any. I know Queens doesn't, but if you guys get anything in terms of that. So we'll pass it on to Michael if you want to kind of talk about that.
Unfortunately, we don't get any therapy discounts.
Whoa. We do. I do this because I used it. So as a club, we don't. But as students, we do.
Yeah, but that's not as a club.
Yeah, but if you all go together, then it's like a club activity.
I mean, a lot of the therapists recognize a bunch of us anyway, because we'd always go to the same one.
The club activity.
Get the group on.
What's the discount though? Like, is it basically like, is it the percentage, or is it like basically like free for students?
So correct me if I'm wrong, Michael, but I remember in my time it was, you got $500 per year. Like, I used it for chiropractor, and you got like 80% of it covered per thing. So that like, if you had a 30% thing, 80% of that would be covered by the $500. The rest comes out of your pocket, and then you just keep using it until you're like done with it. I learned this in 5th year when I didn't use it all in the first 4 years, but hopefully the rest of 12 learns this lesson and goes together. And
It's still the same thing.
Yeah.
It's really handy to have, especially with the amount of injuries that you get playing Quidditch. I know I've used it myself in the past. Can't use it right now, but
Yeah.
it's very handy. I didn't mention it before, but captains take care of the actual practice running, so they'll do all the
Okay.
drills and stuff. We just get the practice time and organize it with the team as to when practices will be.
So are the captains part of exec, or is it kind of like you have like club operations and then like team?
They are part of exec, yeah.
Oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So then is it one captain, or do you guys have multiple captains?
We have changes every year, right? This year we had 5.
Five.
We
Okay.
had 3. We had 3 Guelph captains and 2 Royal City captains.
Okay.
Yeah, and then next year, a lot of us, like I myself, am stepping down, so there'll be new people who will be taking over, and they're doing a slight restructuring, I think.
So, and then one last question. So, do you guys have 2 separate execs for like Guelph and Royal City, or are you guys just all kind of amalgamated into one for exec?
It's kind of one general thing, but like the Guelph coaches take care of the Guelph team, and the Royal City coaches take care of Royal City, but they all coach everyone.
Okay.
And then myself and the vice presidents take care of the club as a whole.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, we're very like the 2 teams are basically one. We're very integrated.
Yeah, I think I wanted to have both of you, like you and McGill, on, because I think there was a lot of questions about sort of the pros and cons, I guess, of having 2 separate teams, like 2 programs within one program. So I guess like in general, I just want to ask you about maybe what you think about having the 2 different teams. Is it like super challenging to operate 2 different teams? I would imagine it's pretty beneficial in terms of having that kind of inner competition and whatnot. But like, how do you guys like manage that, I guess, is what
I honestly don't, because in my first year was Royal City's first year,
right.
So we've always had 2 teams ever since I've been there, and I've never really like noticed it being any more challenging. It is a bit more expensive for sure,
right?
But like I wouldn't know. I don't know how it is to run one team. So to me, it's just what it is.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's probably a bit more work though, because there are more people. But
sure.
I think that's part of it's one of our strengths, because we have so many more people coming to practice and participating in fundraising and that kind of stuff.
Right. Okay. Awesome.
And before I cut you off, was there anything else like Guelph kind of like I don't know, but you guys get anything else besides that, like therapeutic kind of $500 discount thing?
No, nothing therapy wise. We get a bit of a discount with like athletic apparel, I think, like 10%, but nothing for like therapy or anything, as far as I'm aware anyway.
We if you sign up for, like, I can't remember what it was, but like being a part of the club at Guelph, you also had like gym membership. I can't remember if like you signed up for gym membership that covered some of the club cost, or if you signed up it covered some of the gym costs. I can't remember.
They're separate. So
they're separate.
Which was something we tried to like see if we could combine, but it's just easier if you do it separately.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really have this issue this year, because we only had one player who Zach, who wasn't a student. But in the past, when we had more non-students, they'd have to pay the gym membership as well as the team fee, so that can add up a bit. But like it wasn't much of an issue this year. Oh, so we do have if you're a coach, so Zach got this, you're able to get that membership for free if you're a coach of a team, and he's
really?
one of our coaches. So
that's cool.
It was only $45 or $50 a semester for a student.
Yeah, the Guelph one's really good value, I always found.
Yeah.
I think Queens does something similar to that, but
yeah.
So then you guys are allowed alumni too, right? Like you guys are allowed having non-Guelph students play for the team, I assume.
We are, but we're only allowed, I think it's 20% of our roster, 15 or 20% of our roster.
Okay.
It's not a high number.
Okay. Awesome. That's great. I'm just taking notes, so don't mind me. I'm just gonna try to make sure, because you want to everything down. But no, that's awesome. And then we'll pass it on to Savannah. So we'll start with so obviously we talked about team status, but in terms of like funding and like with rentals, like travel and like field and gym space, you kind of touched on it a little bit in terms of like the rentals of like the field space. But like, do you guys get any sort of funding from the school?
We're supposed to. They say there's funding available, but it takes weeks to months to get access to that funding, and sometimes it just doesn't go through.
Right. Okay.
and we had to apply on an event by event basis. So we applied for the tournament we tried to host, and
Yeah.
there's other kind of access to funding with the university that's not club specific. Like we have a school spirit council, which we relied on heavily for payments for our facility for the Great Balls of Fire tournament.
Great.
Yeah, again, a long application process, but it's a great program to have at the university.
So can you just elaborate on what the council is? Is it like just general funding, or like what do they do for you guys?
Yeah, so they cover facility rentals when it's on campus. You're hosting an event on campus, and basically they're trying to encourage students to be more active in campus activities. So we elected to try and host our tournament at the GG's Dome on Lee's campus. So big indoor, fancy field. And we, as part of our contract agreement with the School Spirit Council, had to get non-playing uOttawa students to come spectate and that kind of thing. So we were very heavily trying to recruit spectators, I guess.
Yeah, for sure.
To come watch.
Yeah, because your Instagram was blowing up for a while. They were just like, "Hey,
Yeah.
you come on out! Yay, you come on out!" Like it was impressive. Like that's that's the kind of thing that you need, not just from like growing the sport perspective, but like it also is good for growing your club because you get eyes on your team, and like that, it's great to see.
Yeah, to relate to that, I remember you guys did like a promotional event, I guess it was, at TD Place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
How did you guys go about like running that and organizing that with, I guess, the TD Place?
That was a lot of me going ham in my spare time. But, yeah, so we've done a few events in the last year or two. We created a new exec position called VP External to kind of do those kind of events. I was the first VP External. People reach out to us, we reach out to others, we offer like birthday parties and that kind of thing, and like word gets around. So in the case of the TD thing, they reached out to us and asked us to be part of the halftime show. So it was a lot of just trying to recruit people to come, so we had enough players, making sure the equipment got there on time, that kind of thing. So
was that during the summer before the season started, or was that?
Yeah, that was in September actually. So it was like right after tryouts. So we had a couple of rookies who didn't know how to play.
I guess that's a fun experience for them though, because a lot of players don't get the opportunity to like play on a stadium that big.
Yeah.
In their whole career. So
yeah, it was pretty cool. It was good practice for new snitch who was practicing to get certified, and my rookie seeker caught his first time. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, it was a good time.
You guys said you also do birthdays as well?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because Lydia from Queens also mentioned like they do birthdays. In my mind, like when I heard that the first time, I was like, oh, that's like I would have never thought of that. But apparently, it's some like widespread industry that I'm missing out in the Quidditch field. But yeah, good to know.
Yeah, it's super cool. We offered custom brooms, so Sean Barros and I, we got a bunch of PVC pipe and like hand painted it and wrote uOttawa Quidditch on it. So it's pretty cool. Yeah,
nice.
It's a good time.
Awesome. And then the one last question I wanted to ask was about like the facility. So obviously you guys do have like an indoor turf facility you guys have access to, and it's on campus.
We don't normally have access to it because it's $650 an hour to use.
Oh, damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we needed that school spirit council for our tournament. So usually we practice at a public park near campus, and during the winter we charge a winter practice fee, and we use a community center nearby. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's pretty much how that goes.
So does the community center have like turf, or is it like a gym kind of?
It's just an indoor gym, yeah. Unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah, many teams just have to do that.
Yeah, I think honestly, like Waterloo. Okay, let's just say about Waterloo has one, and then I know like Guelph has one as well because that's what you guys have the tournament. But like, yeah, I think that's a huge problem because we're trying to talk about like we'll talk about it later, but like the tournaments and organizing winter tournaments. It's just trying to find like facilities because, like you said, they're so expensive if you don't have it on site, which is kind of a recurring theme, I think. So that's awesome, really cool. So we'll move into our third topic, which was kind of just like recruitment and retention. So obviously, it's a huge part of being a successful university team. We have a lot of turnover because we're students first, obviously, so we have to deal with that sort of aspect of the game. So what do you guys do in terms of, I guess we'll start with recruitment. What do you guys do for recruitment? I know obviously the big one's O week for most programs, but do you guys do recruitment outside of that? Do you guys recruit actively during the spring or even during the summer? How do you go about that? So we'll start with Savannah, if you want to go first for this one.
Yeah, for sure. So in the summer leading up to our tryouts in September, we should be doing a lot more recruitment than we are. It's just a matter of coordinating the exec when everybody's so far apart as well. That's kind of difficult. When September comes around, we heavily focus on clubs fairs and how-to sessions. So I don't know if you guys have been to the uOttawa campus before, but there's a big lawn in front of the building that our logo is actually based on. So we go there and we start playing Quidditch, and people come and join us, and that's actually where we get a lot of interest, even if people are just trolling and trying to hang out. Yeah, we hand out little like business cards with our tryout information on it, and that's been pretty successful. Definitely need to work on the continuous recruitment, but yeah, that comes with.
Do you guys have like I know like Queens also being biased, but like with Queens we have like in the gym, like we have in the varsity gym area we have like they call it like a clubs fair setup. Do you guys have that kind of thing there, or like during the week?
It's usually at the beginning of each semester, and this year they actually hosted 4 clubs weeks.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Like 2 each semester. So you have to like compete with other clubs for space on the prime spots on campus, and then you set up your little table, talk to people.
I thought you were about to say like compete for funding, like Hunger Games style, like that. That's you want the field, like you're gonna have to fight for it.
It's a little cutthroat trying to get space on campus, but it's okay.
And then what about like last question? What about the visit, like when they're visiting like the open house? That's the word I'm looking for. Like open house. Do you guys do recruitment there or no?
We do. Usually we don't get a lot of membership from open house events, but the university likes to have us participate because it gets more students to come.
Yeah.
People like the novelty of the Quidditch team. Yeah, but our relationship with the university has been kind of different this year. They usually make a donation to the club in response to us participating in the open house. But this year they actually they wanted us to do triple the amount of time for no payment on a school day. So yeah, like during the week. Yeah. So,
interesting.
That's weird.
Yep.
That's tough.
Yeah, not the greatest. Okay, so we'll shift to Michael. If you want to talk about like what you guys do, obviously you guys are a pretty big program with the 2 teams there, and you guys always have like a really competitive team. So what do you guys like? You kind of want to, you don't have to tell us everything. Like you have your secrets, but like what sort of things do you guys do that try to get lots of people to come out and try to get the best?
It's a continuous effort. So it's year round. A lot of it is tournaments, bake sales, that kind of stuff. We got a lot of engagement on campus during those times. So we get people talking, and they say, "Oh, hey, like maybe I'll try that next year," and then we see them at tryouts. A lot of current team members tell their friends about it if they tell somebody else, and that's also a good way to get it out. If you guys have walked through the Guelph campus, you'll have seen the cannon in the middle.
Yeah.
So we'll usually paint that, and you've probably seen the pictures on the Instagram. We've got some artists on the team.
Yeah.
They did a good job with that.
And it's not vandalism. The painting the cannon is not vandalism. Like it's actively a recurring tradition. Just to clarify,
yeah.
And you it's also a team bonding thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. O week's a big one for us because we usually bring in the biggest crowd for O week. That's not a major event. Sorry. We've worked our way up to a prime time during O week, so we usually get a lot of exposure for that and get a nice game going between not even between our teams, just whoever can help out. We get flyers posted around campus for when our tryouts are, that kind of stuff. This year, Zach made some business cards with our tryout info on it, so those did really well. A lot of our a lot of our recruitment stuff is also done in the summer, but I've been living here in the summer, so I'm able to push certain things throughout the summer and get information out faster. One other big thing we have is, if any of you know Nick Marinak, he's got his own photography business, Lights and Lines Productions. You just check it out.
Good plug. Good plug.
Cut that out, Gabe. No,
He actually, if you guys have seen the Quidditch Canada cover picture and the Facebook page, the one that it's like a video, he did that.
nice.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so he did a video for us, and he gave us a huge discount on it. And you might have seen it posted on his Instagram, but that'll be up on ours within the next couple of weeks. It's a really good promo video, and it's kind of like, here's what it looks like, and this is what we do. That's something else we've done.
Okay. So you said you guys do a lot of summer recruitment. What do you guys do for that? Do you guys like actively recruit like that high school level, or do you guys just kind of like do like little like tournaments and stuff like, or not tournaments, but like scrimmages and stuff like that on campus during the summer months kind of
That's
thing?
more, the summer stuff is more me just going around and getting like dealing with the school and maybe being like, oh, like, can we get this posted around the buildings and stuff?
Well,
Because a lot of it is just getting approval for things and then waiting a couple of weeks or months for.
I was gonna say, Michael, like when we were still in our, I think it was like second year or so. I remember, I think it was like Bethan, Chantel was a part of it. I think Callie was as well. We had a little group of people. They were doing the summer camps as well for the city of Guelph, which was
that was me.
Oh, is that you as well? Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
That's it's not as helpful because it's great. Our Quidditch thing is an entire different thing, but that helps us with recruitment maybe 5 to 10 years down the road.
well,
Yeah,
you guys
we've
got
got
compensated for that though, right?
Yeah, I was gonna
Sorry?
say like
Yeah, so I work with the city of Guelph. I'm the city's rep, and we have a Quidditch program with the city of Guelph on top of like our other stuff that we do. And yeah, it's a good way to get get city contacts as well, and I don't know, we can maybe turn that into something in the future. Like, I'm stepping down, but it's paving the way for the future.
no, for sure. That's we definitely want to have because I know Christos and Gola were mentioning like the Quidditch, and even out west too, like the Quidditch program. So we'll definitely talk about that for sure. That's great. Yeah, awesome. So maybe we can go more into like we'll briefly touch on it, like retention. So like, how do you guys like retain? Obviously, a huge part of it is like social aspect. So like we like at Queens, we have like parties and stuff like that. So is there anything in particular that you guys do in terms of like trying to retain players? I know especially like the winter months are hard because we don't have as many tournaments as we do in the fall necessarily. So is there anything in particular that you guys do to try to keep players engaged and try to keep them active with the sport? I know, like I said, like with Guelph, you guys have like that advantage in terms of having the two teams. So even if you guys just have like inter team battle, like games, stuff like that. So is there anything in particular maybe outside of that you guys do to try to keep players?
A lot of it's just the social stuff, like make sure there's events, even if it's a fundraising event, like a bake sale or fundraising in a restaurant, those kind of things. It's just an excuse for everyone to see each other again, and on top of the practices and stuff. So the more people can see each other and like, do things together, the closer they'll be. And I think Brian's mentioned it elsewhere, not today. We have we're very abnormal in the sense that a lot of us are very close.
Yeah.
Like I like Aiden, Bethan, and myself have lived together for 4 or 5 years now, and a bunch of other people on the team have all lived together and worked together, and like that's just how we've grown as a club.
Long live the Burr.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, you guys, it's continuing on to next year, right? I believe you have a
Yeah, we're just all moving out, which is a bit challenging with all this, but.
So so like I know that Queens we have like we call them the Quidditch houses. So like that's obviously like a huge thing. You guys have like a designated Quidditch house. Is that a thing?
It. This is it.
Nice. Awesome. That's sweet.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have a few, right? Like the Burr is the tried and true like one that's been around forever. But at the same time, like you guys have also had like Zach's house now. He had a house before with a couple other people. There was Felicia, Ainsley's, Steph, like all the people there. There's just been houses like full of kind of Quidditch people throughout the year. Like they all just kind of clumped together. Like Ryan Yee and Calder's lived at like 2 or 3 different Quidditch houses.
Calder's,
He just moves around. But like I think just having areas to go to when like I'll dive in a little bit from my perspective, but like we've done like the guys and girls nights in the past, which have always been like good fun. The rookie socials, not not the P word. We avoid that word.
word there.
Yeah, we avoid that word.
Christmas parties, Halloween. Like there's always that excuse to get together, and I think that's in my mind what's made Guelph like really just continually to grow. Like in our Michael in our first years, like we were kind of a solid mid-level team, but like just as the years gone by, it's just step up, like every year.
Yeah. And the thing is, Royal City was made not as like, oh, let's get player development. Royal City was because, well, the year before had so many players. Like they were in the awkward phase where they had too many for one team but not enough for two. So they decided to try Royal City, and they tried it 2 years before our first year actually.
Oh, did they?
And it didn't work because everyone dropped. But they tried it again our year, and it obviously worked. But most of the guys in our year dropped from Royal City, so I think there was me, Calder, Aiden, and then later when Jonathan came back, he was there. Nick was also there for a couple tournaments.
Who was? He was also in engineering. He hurt his knee.
Hussein,
yes, he was also there. Like
he was there for a couple tournaments.
Yeah, like the guys at the beginning, there really wasn't many, but like it's really grown. Like just simple as that.
It's grown a lot. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Sorry, another point I wanted to mention with the Quidditch houses, it's really handy when you're trying to house people. I mean, there was a bit of difficulty with that this year, but it's usually really handy. It's usually really handy trying to get people to host. I don't know what happened this year, but yeah.
Oh boy.
That's awesome. Okay, so Savannah, we'll quickly over to you then. So, I mean, obviously it's a lot of this like similar stuff, but do you guys do anything particular to try to retain players? Like I said, obviously the winter is tough, but do you guys do anything particular outside of like get-togethers and the general stuff to keep players engaged?
It's usually more left up to the coach aspect of it. The coaches are distinct from the exec on our team.
Okay.
But we do tend to have like fitness challenges in the winter.
Okay.
So last year, my rookie year, we had fitness groups, and we all contributed $5 or something, and there was a prize at the end for the team with the most points or something, with the occasional fitness testing. That hasn't always been successful, just due to like space availability. But yeah, we've had other like efforts similar where you'd post gym pictures, or you'd send them to the coach or something with your group or some friends, like that kind of thing. Just try to keep everyone active and involved.
So then do you like are the coaches? So the coaches are, you said they're separate from the exec. So they're not part of exec at all. They're just kind of okay. So how do you guys do the like divide that? Do you guys do like chaser coach, beater coach, or just one?
We do a head coach.
Okay.
He's everyone who's considering becoming head coach participates in a confidence election, and then after that, VP Athletics does an interview and like picks the head coach from that, and then
really?
Then the head coach can pick assistant coaches just at their will.
So then like the head coach is like employed by the university then kind of thing, or is it like so they just do the interview just to like do the interview kind of? I don't know.
Yeah, VP Athletics does the interview just to pick the coach. Like they present their like training plan and that kind of thing. So.
Wow. Okay,
VP Athletics of like your club, just to clarify.
Yes, of our club.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think you guys are thinking like I understood what you meant.
Yeah. I was gonna say, does this VP like Ottawa have like Quidditch experience? Like, how do they know what's good?
I was like, how do they pick who gets to be the captain of their team?
Tell me about your beater philosophy.
That's awesome. So. Okay, cool. Yeah. So then, so I do want to touch on this because obviously you guys have I feel bad because the whole COVID thing, but obviously you guys had the tournament. We were really excited to go to that. But we'll kind of switch gears to that then. So in terms of tournament hosting, I know that we had Waterloo mentioned that for them, they have facilities. Oftentimes it's just kind of organizing it. And Queens, again, with Queens, it's tough because of the policies we have in place. So long story short, Queens, because we're lower on the tier, if there's another teams like a varsity team or varsity club that comes in and they need the fields, we get kicked off. And if the weather's bad, we get kicked off and we don't get the deposit back. So it's really tough for us. So I kind of want to see what policies like with you guys. So we'll start with Savannah. What do you guys get in terms of, obviously you said that the fields are really expensive, but does the university give you support in terms of organizing the tournaments logistically, any other funding that they give you kind of thing?
Well, the School Spirit Council that I already mentioned before was crucial to us planning the tournament, and it almost didn't happen purely based on their acceptance or rejection of our application.
Right.
There's a few folks in the athletics department that were super helpful, but in general, the university is not responsible for helping us out with that.
Okay.
We're considered an external entity when we book events like that.
Okay.
So yeah, no discounts on that $650 an hour or anything.
Wow.
So yeah.
So then would you say the main limiting factor for you guys is just the cost of it? It's just tough. It's just too much.
Yeah, and just being downtown Ottawa, there's not a lot of fields nearby that we can rent out. If it was a summer tournament, we would have used the public park or something, but no cigar with the snow in March. So
yeah. Okay, awesome. Okay, so then Gomes, for you guys, obviously, I would say you guys are the gold standard when it comes to tournaments. You guys always seem to have tournaments going on. I think the huge thing for you guys is the facilities, but is there anything else in terms of organizing the tournaments logistically that you guys get in terms support wise from Guelph?
We'll get we get, it's not a discount per se, but any booking we make through athletics, we don't have to pay HST or any taxes on, so that helps us out. It helps us keep the cost down a little bit. Also, the outdoor field rentals are obviously a lot cheaper, which is why our tournament fee is double for the winter tournament than it is for the fall tournament.
Right.
But we don't really get much else from the school. Regionals was a bit different because it was a bigger tournament. So we worked with all their support staff, and we told them what we wanted, and they told us if it was possible and how we could get it, basically. So that was a bit helpful for them. The water is something that is that they do. They bring the giant jugs of water for us, so we don't have to run back and forth. Other than that, it's just us organizing it. So scheduling, the whole thing basically is us. Right. And this year was different because of the past. Ever since my second year, we've had 2 a year, and then this year we had 3 because of regionals. So and then our fall one goes back to our Brian and I first year.
Yeah.
So is there sorry Brian, go ahead.
No, I don't. Go ahead. I
was just gonna say, do you guys get not get, but do you guys give the university anything they I don't know, is there a give take kind of thing that makes hosting tournaments easier? I know I think you were mentioning in terms of organizing it with the forums and stuff like that. I know Queens, it's insane when it comes to organizing those forums. Is it more lax when you guys organize tournaments?
As long as everyone signs the waiver, we're covered on that front. That's why we're very strict with you have to sign the waiver, because if somebody gets hurt and they don't have a waiver signed, we can get in serious trouble. So even our own players. So we always make sure to push it that sign the waiver and you'll be fine.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Michael, I never realized how comfy we have it. After talking to people, we have indoor stuff all the time for practices. We had the outdoor on Johnston Green, which is pretty good. Occasional bumps here and there, and then we also used the field hockey pitch for a while, back in the day. I'm not sure if you guys still do, but it's crazy to see the differences. We've never had to really resort to a gym. Maybe once we did it during a try event, in my second or third year or something, and it was but either way, it was just I think it was also because it was pouring rain that night, and that was like the only, like, oh well, come on in, like, see what we have going on. But yeah, it's weird to. I don't know. I don't play a style conducive to falling on the gym floor very often. I don't think my Quidditch career would last much longer if I was subjected to that.
That might also be why we've been able to improve as a club so much, because we have access to the facilities more than other teams maybe.
Yeah. What about you, Savannah? So you said that you guys you have the field, but it's really expensive. So what do you? I don't know if you mentioned it, but what do you guys do in the winter? Do you guys just practice in the gym? It's the gym, right?
We have the field
community center.
Oh, sorry. I thought he was asking me.
Sorry. So okay, so you guys practice in the community center, which is the gym, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and then Michael, you guys practice in the field house, obviously.
Yeah, we practice in the field house. The time for the practice time in the field house is really hard to get because everyone's trying to get it, and
right.
Varsity has complete control over when they want. So we usually send our bookings for tournaments and practices in April for the following year.
Right.
Oh wow. So like around now, yeah. And then they'll get approved sometime in July or August. But at any point, a varsity team could come and take our time, and we could be left with potentially nothing.
Wow.
So yeah, we've had some of our times picked off, and this year we were down to one a week, and we scrounged up some more times. But it's a lot of work on our part to go through and find open times and see when we can get some booked in.
So they can pick it up at any point, or like once they like set the schedule, it's set, or can they just kind of come in and say, okay, no, we want this time. Quidditch can go where else?
Yeah, they just come. So like they'll set the schedule initially in August or September, and then whenever varsity wants, they can say, okay, we're gonna change our schedule or pick our dates, and then ours will get overwritten.
Oh wow.
So yeah, so we'll have 2 or 3 days a week in the winter, and then it usually gets overwritten, and the times will get changed. So we'll get shifted to, let's say, a Friday 9 to 11 a.m., which is a very high like class time. So most of our players will have classes, and they won't be able to make it to practice, which makes it harder to practice.
Does that also affect tournament scheduling, or is it just for your practices?
Just for practices. Tournaments, usually when they're booked, they're good. We had an issue with it this year where there was like a double booking, so we had to change one of the fields. I don't know if you guys were there, you would have noticed we had to switch back up to the taller field and come down. Yeah, that was because there was a bit of a mix up there. But in general, the tournaments are usually pretty safe because they're like solid bookings, I guess. I don't know how their internal bookings work, but they're usually safe.
Very good. Okay, so we'll kind of wrap up this segment then with just like one overarching question. So obviously, there's been a lot of talk about like tournaments, and it's been like really inconsistent and up and down in terms of how many tournaments we have in the winter semester, how many tournaments we have if there's any in the winter, and then how many tournaments we have in the fall semester. But in general, if there was one thing that like you whether it be from Quidditch Canada or like more support from the schooling that you could have that would make the team overall more successful, what would that like maybe one or two things that you really wish you had more of? So like whether it be funding, whether it be just more tournaments in general organized by like everyone in the Quidditch community as a collective. We'll start with Savannah. What's one thing that Ottawa like really would benefit from for the team?
So I actually really enjoyed the skills clinic that Quidditch Canada put on at regionals. So much so that I tried to organize my own in February here in Ottawa. So honestly, like there was a lot of interest. We had upwards of like 20 people interested. We had Karen, Alex Naftel, Raph, people helping out. Like that was super beneficial, and I think that in times when teams are struggling to get practice times together, having clinics like that would be like super super helpful to all teams involved, that kind of thing.
So sorry, was this like something you did in the summer, or was this during like the school year?
This was in February.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was it started as a seeker snitch clinic because we had like 4 or 5 interested snitches on uOttawa this year.
Right.
And then it took kind of the beaters joined in to help lower the facility rental fee, but yeah, no, it was a really good time. So. Okay,
cool. Because the three of us, like before we had the podcast, we had talked about like the idea of maybe, and I know that Atana was kind of talking with it as well, is like running like a a summer clinic, because I think other than people that are playing MLQ, which I think we'll definitely have a podcast on MLQ and the importance of having MLQ people from Quidditch Canada playing MLQ. But like there was a talks about maybe having like clinics, and I know that a lot of people were saying, especially with ref clinics, like people don't go to the ref clinics, and I think the coaching aspect of it is a bit different. Like, yes, like reffing is important, and yes, I wish more refs went to those clinics, but you can kind of understand like it's not really benefiting their team. So maybe having those coaching clinics and to help like run practices and have those skills like sessions would be beneficial, especially in the summertime when we're not really doing anything and there's no reason not to play Quidditch because the weather's so nice. So that's cool. So what about you, Michael? What's one thing like Guelph and Royal City would really benefit from? What is it more funding? Is it more tournaments like from everyone? Like how can everyone kind of help Guelph out?
Like more funding from the school would be nice because we're covering all our costs ourselves by ourselves. So like any extra funding the school could get us would be really helpful.
Jerseys on time.
Jersey on time. We've had to get new jerseys every year for the past 4 years because of varying reasons. 1 year they were orange. The couple of times the school changed their like supplier, so in our second year they went through Adidas, and then the Adidas one started falling apart, so we had to switch our jerseys again. This year, if you guys saw our jerseys at the winter tournament, they were I have one upstairs, but we had to change them slightly, the Guelph ones, because the school is very picky with how they choose how the Griffin has to be, and they decided that last year's jerseys were no longer okay, so we had to change them again this year, but they didn't tell us until November or December, so our order had already gone out, so we had to reorder them.
Oh, okay.
And it's sorry, but tournaments, more tournaments would also be nice. That also depends on teams coming to the tournaments and like participating, because I know in the past we've invited a lot of teams and then a lot of them will drop out, or a lot of them last minute, and that really makes scheduling and stuff a lot harder too if you're hosting the tournament.
Right.
Do you mean like?
Go ahead, Nick. Go ahead.
Do you mean like tournaments hosted by Guelph or just tournaments hosted by?
Other teams in general, because like this year I think Guelph hosted 3 tournaments and there was maybe 5 or 6 scheduled to happen in the East, so like one team shouldn't be hosting half the tournaments in a season.
Half the season, yeah. A lot of sense.
Yeah. So to build off that point, we brought it up on the other part of it. So are you guys of the mindset that, especially in the I would say more so in the winter, just because there's not like as many tournaments in the winter, but in general, I guess, like would teams benefit from having more tournaments, or do you think having more practice time is better? Because I think that's a huge discrepancy right now. I think most us in general are kind of on the mindset that more tournaments would be better. Obviously, we've been playing the sport longer, so we want more tournaments. We want to play more. But what do you guys think in terms of tournaments? Do you think it's better to have more tournaments, or do you think it's better to have like more practice time for the teams before big events like regionals and nationals?
Or shifting the dates of regionals, nationals slightly, or something like whatever you can come up with, we like to hear it.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, because I think I think practice is very helpful because it also is like a team bonding thing. Tournaments are as well, but more people are able to make practice and they're not as much of a time commitment. Then again, if you do know the tournament schedule a bit farther in advance, then you can plan for that as well. So maybe an extra tournament in the fall, and then more winter tournaments for sure would be nice to see. But then again, winter tournaments are very expensive, so and they're harder to organize.
Yeah, for sure. What do you think, Savannah? What do you think? What's your exact team in your opinion on that?
Honestly, I've learned more in playing Quidditch games than our practices are great, but I think it's more of a learning curve when you're in the game, so maybe more tournaments. But it would also, I agree with Michael when he said knowing the dates of tournaments maybe more in advance, so the team has more time to plan and fundraise, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that's definitely something that we've kind of touched about. Yeah. Maybe that'll be like our kind of wrap up question. But like the whole idea of like the structure is it better to have like like tournaments put in advance, where like even like Quidditch Canada organizes more of that stuff. So we have a set schedule and ahead of time. So that also I think would help with recruitment, or is it better to just kind of like let teams organize whatever? So that's great stuff. So we'll finish up with our last sort of segment here. We call it the chill vibe segment, obviously, from the Huddle Otters. But so what we can either do is we can do I don't know if you guys had a chance to look at the QC money game, or we can just I can pull up a question from the list. Maybe I'll do like the league structure question. So it's kind of up to you guys what you guys want to do.
I was really proud of my teams for the money game.
Okay.
I had some fun with that.
Sure, yeah, we can do that. So yeah, for those that aren't familiar, the QC money game. So I try my best to send sort of a package to the guests, and then we have like all three of us put together, similar to what MLQ recently did with their athletes. So they picked a bunch of athletes on this side and like a certain money amount per athlete. So we came up with I think it was 3 keepers per category, 5 or 6 chasers per category, and then 5 years per category. And we'll go. Which one do you want to do? Do you want to do your $21, or we can do the Seeker floor action, or we can just do regular cloth play? What you pick?
Do you want how much of an Ottawa bias do you want?
whatever you want. It's up to you. It's up to you.
Whatever you decide.
And I'd just like to make my my disclaimer as I always do. So we've created this out of just pure like one night. Literally, we saw the MLQ thing. Was like cool. Let's try making that ourselves. This is not a reflection of like if you're $5 you're an amazing player, if you're $1 you're garbage. It's more of like showing players who've had like lots of experience in like international games or MLQ. Like the more you played and the longer you played, it kind of shows because you have that like almost resume. Does that mean you're a bad player? Absolutely not. If you're on the lower end, it could just mean you're like maybe undervalued, or maybe you're an up-and-comer, or whatever the reason. Maybe there's something special about you that you could really add to a team. By all means, this is like personal opinions. It's here for a good time. It's not to hurt feelings. So we just want to have fun with it. And yeah, take it away.
I'll do my $21 Seeker line if that's cool.
Yeah, sure.
So for the Seeker, I had Lyndon Evers. Pretty solid. I understand he was a TC Seeker for a while, so that's a bonus too. For the beaters, I had Heather and Zach. Splurged a little bit there because Seeker beating is important there. Yeah. For my chasers, I had Cameron Powers and David Kazam, because those guys at $1 are absolute steal.
Yeah,
that's a recurring thing for sure.
Yeah. Then for my non-male chaser, I have Felicia Costa, and my keeper, I actually put Lydia Reed. So
okay,
nice.
That's a solid lineup. All right, Gomes, I don't want me to put you on the spot. I don't know if you have a team, or we can use one of our teams.
Go for it. I just got one, but it's all about players, so.
All right, go for it.
Oh, sure. Okay. Let's see. Zach, Kaylin, because they play together, good chemistry, and great Seeker beating.
Okay.
Liam Catton, great keeper. Brooke Walker, great chaser. Felicia Costa, great chaser. And where did my last one go? I think I had Julian.
But
I just picked all golf players because I just like glanced through it very quickly.
Is that throwing yourself in at Seeker?
Oh, are we doing Seekers? Sure, why not?
There you go.
You have the money for
it? There we go.
Yeah.
Offline.
For yourself.
You know what? And you know what? That works, and you're $1 under budget.
There you go.
There you go.
$1 to spare.
That's awesome. All right, cool. Okay, so we'll finish up real quick then with we'll try to do like one fun question to wrap up. So we'll do let's see here. I mean, if you guys want to, we can get your thoughts on the league structure. Like that's one of the questions here. I don't know if you guys want to quickly wrap up with that. Like, so the question is, what are your thoughts on the current league structure? So I propose like the three. I don't know if you guys have the document, but the three like proposed ideas are the current structure we have. So like making it up to the teams to organize tournaments, and then we have obviously regionals and nationals, which is organized by the hosting team, and we'll get I guess some support from Quidditch Canada. And then the other one that I originally posed was like the Super Series. So obviously Coach Michael, did you play with the Raiders?
I did, yeah.
Okay, so you guys have a general idea, like the Super Series idea. So the whole idea of that was that you would have two different like divisions. So you would have a West and an East. So like East would be like Ottawa, Queens, etc., and then the West would be like UFT, Waterloo, Guelph, obviously that kind of thing. And then you guys there would be like Quidditch Canada would organize like a Super Series idea where you would have maybe in a weekend you would have Guelph playing against UFT and Waterloo, and then you'd have a Super Series against both. So you get more action against those teams, more reps for like some of the younger players as well. And then you'd have more of an accurate sort of thing where you're playing a team more than once. And it's all kind of more condensed, and you have a set structure before the league starts. Or the other idea was kind of like having, I think Howie mentioned it, and it's kind of what the US does right now, which is like the conference model where you have the certain conferences based on geographical region. Obviously, we're kind of limited in because we don't have as many teams, so it would basically the same idea: East Conference, West Conference, and within Ontario and Quebec, and then you would play. I guess I don't really know if I think they still do tournaments, but it's just the set like conference. So instead of having like MLQ style where you're doing the Super Series, it would still be East West, but it would just be like East West Conference, and then you would just have tournaments or whatever. So it's not really a big difference from what we have now, really. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts on that. What you guys like, what you guys think about in general.
Well, I think. Sorry, you go ahead.
No, go for it.
I think doing a conference style thing would go a long way in increasing like team rivalries, which would be good for the sport. I think. My background in sports not really league structure with track, so I'm still learning. But honestly, whichever gives us like the most information in advance will probably be beneficial for students as well. So yeah, just increasing spectatorship, that kind of thing.
More games, less pain. Like that. Yeah. Good philosophy.
Awesome. What about you, Michael? What do you think?
I like the idea of the Super Series, but that's very dependent on clubs working with their schools and the schools cooperating with the clubs and Quidditch Canada helping out, all working together to make it happen. And there's a lot of factors there. So if it can be pulled off, it'd be great. But it'd be very tough, especially if a team has never hosted something before and it's their first time. It might be tough to make it happen during a particular weekend. So if there's a bit of flexibility there, that could work too, because then it doesn't have to be like a set thing if it doesn't happen. Like let's say if we booked out October 26th for our field and that gets taken and we have nowhere to play, how much flexibility do we have in the sense that we could push it back a weekend or something like that?
I think having these conversations is kind of like, originally the idea in theory is great, but I think especially with like what you guys were saying, I know I didn't really know what Queens was doing, but the idea of like a varsity team just being able to walk in and just take the fields when we have it like sort of booked is, to me, is ridiculous. But I like there's stuff like that would be a logistical nightmare, I think. So I don't know if that's even possible now, but I didn't know that before. So that's kind of the whole point of doing these like kind of talks, is just figuring that stuff out. But no, that's awesome. So
another thing I'd like to see, it might not be feasible now, but I know some people have suggested like a regionals or a nationals college club split.
Yes.
So like maybe not the round robin, but like a bracket split, and then they meet in the final, something like that. It'd be cool to test run if at all possible. I know that the work going behind that would be a lot, but it'd be cool to see. Yeah,
that's another idea I forgot to mention too, is like having like an upper and lower bracket. So I think Brian had mentioned, and the QPL does it with their summer league. They have an upper and lower bracket, so they still have a championship game in both like ends, and then they have. I don't think they have it, but it'd be kind of cool if they had like it might be kind of unfair, but like having the winner of the upper bracket play the winner of the lower bracket to have like the ultimate champion. But so that way, like you would have like maybe usually the community teams have been more successful, but having them in the upper bracket and then having the lower bracket with some of the teams that can't necessarily compete necessarily at that time with those teams, but then having the two kind of still be able to play towards a championship. So that's cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
I think the main point of this is like as Gabe pointed out, like hearing feedback I think is the best thing, and I think this kind of platform is great, like greatly conducive to it. We bring on 2 people. We'd love to hear from you. Like, you guys have played the sport, you played in different leagues, you're running your teams, and just hearing that different kind of opinions and hearing those perspectives from, like, oh, I want to play, okay, great, but you also have to consider the logistics. You got to consider the admin. Like, it's important points that really, like, can really help this whole sport grow, like, nationally. I think it's great to see that we have people, like, thinking about all that and doing all that in the background. But yeah, it's awesome hearing all these kind of different opinions from you guys.
For sure. Awesome. So thank you guys so much for coming on. Like, we'll wrap it up with that. I don't know if you guys have any last minute, like, thoughts, questions, concerns you guys want to throw in there before we close it up.
I'd like to see more fantasy tournaments in the summer.
Okay.
Not this summer. This summer, stay indoors, stay safe.
Yeah, that's the exception.
Virtual tournament.
It's been a while since we've had a big one.
Okay,
Yeah.
awesome. What about you, Savannah? Anything you
Just
want to
for
throw
fun.
in there? No, that's awesome. I love fantasy.
Honestly, I just encourage more people to step up into like a volunteer position at the league level as well, because I know there's a few people with their hands in a lot of different honeypots right now, so it'd be awesome to get a little bit more participation there. Yeah, everyone's doing a great job, so thanks, Brian, for
Awesome.
your stats.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're welcome. I would love to do more, and I plan to do more. It just limited what we have right now. There's plans for the future. Look forward to that. Stay indoors. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
That kind of reminded me of one more thing. I think you touched on it earlier. The shortage of refs in the league
Yeah.
is kind of something that really hurts, especially when you're like last year at nationals, I ended up HRing 9 or 10 games and playing 5 or 6, and I only had to break a game or 2. So if we could balance out the number of refs we have between teams, that would be really awesome.
Yeah.
I don't know how to go about doing that, but
Yeah, no, I think we'll try. I don't know, because of like CC stuff. I don't know if we can get Howie on here, but I know he's been really trying to push having like non-playing refs at tournaments, which I think will be a really cool topic to have in the podcast. But I'll write that one down for sure. That's a good point.
he was able to come to our winter tournament. That was a big help with the bracket play because he could just do all the games.
For sure. Awesome. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for coming on. We'll wrap it up with that. It was great to have you guys on. It's like Brian was saying, it's awesome to have all the different opinions from all the different university teams. So obviously we're the ones that are kind of really pushing the community teams are great and we love them, but we want to make sure we're kind of getting support with the university teams as well, just because we know that they're kind of the driving force behind a lot of this development of the sport. So thank you guys so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem. All right. We'll see everyone in part 3 of our episode. We're going to have McGill and UFT on. So we'll see you guys for that.
Okay.
All right.
Good.
Awesome.